New radio in the Door County Daily News, and we are joined right now by Dave Allen, and we're going to go for a little bit of a walk.
That's
walk
great.
that people haven't done since 2017. Potawatomi
right.
State
That's
Park
right.
Observation Tower open. And Dave, tell us a little bit before we start climbing your role in helping make sure that this tower stays.
Sure. There were a lot of people who started in 2017, but my wife and I moved to Door County in 2020, and we became aware of the tower through friends, and we wanted to be involved with saving this historic tower. At the time, it wasn't even historic, but when it was declared historic, there seemed to be light at the end of the tunnel, that there could be a way of holding everything up a little bit, slowing things down, making the right decisions, because otherwise the tower would have either fallen down or been torn down. So as the group got started, I used some of my technical expertise, being able to help do surveys, spreadsheets, cost analysis, things like that, just being sort of a sounding board to show that it made a lot of sense to do the tower. Also, we would follow the governor around and various places and tell him that it made a lot of sense for the taxpayers and the community of Door County and the larger state community to have two towers and to save this treasure, because it is a different tower. So we all chipped in, we all did what we could do, but mine was a lot on the more technical side.
Well, and we're going to quick take a look at some of the stuff that had to be done. And Dave, you pointed out that there are spots on the lower poles, certainly here, and then on the other one as well, where they certainly had to stabilize some things with the bigger timbers here.
Yeah, you might want to show at the first level. There's something called I believe it's called a Dutch lap, where there is some rot that was not known from the original investigations, and there was an option. Either you had to remove the whole pole, which would have been expensive and might have done some damage, or the engineers and the prime contractor said, we can excavate parts of the rot out of there and wrap it in a fiberglass sheet with epoxy. I think it's called a Dutch lap anyway, and there are a number of that, and that's a significant way of saving money and stabilizing those posts. But there are many changes, or improvements and renovations that were made that allowed us to keep the historical nature of the tower, but you have to update for safety and things like that, and some of the boards are obviously new, and the chain link fencing to make it safer is obviously new, but most of the components are original, as much as could possibly be saved.
Well, let's climb it, shall we?
Absolutely.
All right, so we're here, and we'll get Dave in the background. Dave, you've already climbed this twice, so we're going to make it three times for you.
Yeah, don't have to do my daily run today. The tower is good enough.
There we go.
Feel the burn, as they say.
So we're going to climb up, and like you said, Dave, the kind of the railings are new. There's chain link fencing. That's also new as well. Any other spots that you've noticed as you've climbed up that may be a little bit different than what was first here?
Yeah, there are some of the boards, and you can typically tell because the way the new boards like this are manufactured, the new timbers, they have sort of a triangular indentation, part of the manufacturing process. And so if you look closely, you can see which boards those are, but you have to look close.
And how important was it for you and others that worked really hard on this to make sure that this tower was able to stay and continue to be like it was when it was first built in the 1930s?
Yeah, and for 95 years ago, next year 95 years, 94 years now, this tower has stood. It was the first tower, I believe, in the state to be built for recreational purposes as opposed to fire. And it's just it's a sublime view. It's something that's part of our heritage, and there's nothing that a brand new tower in this place could replicate regarding this tower. They could both have views, but doing this tower, saving the taxpayers a lot of money compared to the alternatives, saving the forest around it, and having something that'll be good for another 100 years. That's just impossible to do otherwise.
And right by one of those spots here, and Dave, we're seeing just some of the work here that they had to do to kind of shore up this timber, and you can even see, you said the wrap that they were able to epoxy in there just to kind of, once again, secure that spot.
Yep, that was critical to saving these big, long cedar timbers. There are a lot of features about this wood that makes it unique or special, let's say, that if you don't know what you're doing, you think as a homeowner, you might say, well, I'm just going to paint this or stain this. But the engineering that went into this with the specialists that were eventually hired to do the work, they know exactly how you treat wood that was over 100 years old probably, that was constructed 94 years ago. You don't treat it the same way that you would do today. And you have to know exactly what you're doing, and we're very thankful that they did.
All right, well, we're going to continue to climb up here, and we'll give everybody a view of what it looks like here. And once again, we can't emphasize enough, there's certainly original parts of the tower still part of it, certainly plenty of new as well. And as Dave said, all this done, make sure it lasts another 100 years. You got a nice view over there as we continue to make our climb up. We'll go back to you here as we get to the next kind of bank here. Is you mentioned before how you follow Governor Evers around to make sure that this project kept on going. He came here 3 years ago with then DNR Secretary Preston Cole, said, hey, we're going to save it.
Yeah.
And then we saw a number of different iterations. It was going to look like Peninsula State Park a little bit with that kind of that canopy look to it. There was almost like a spin wheel as well.
Yeah.
Why was it important to keep it the way that it was?
Well, first of all, we believe that the heritage is really important. We also believe it's important to save taxpayer dollars. And knowing that the final cost of renovating this would be significantly less, we believe that the legislature would work with the governor to allocate costs to do this. We weren't sure, we were correct, that the legislature would approve spending $5-6 million to tear this down and build another tower. And in fact, they refused to do that. So the choice was restore this tower, which is the right decision, save the taxpayers' money, and have it be acceptable to the legislature. And that's how it worked. That was the right decision. So we would follow the governor at his budget meetings and just prod the governor along to let him know that we didn't think anything could happen other than restoring the tower, and saying that Door County supports everybody who wants to support our heritage, and that it was a good thing to do. And eventually I think everybody worked together.
I'll flip it around, because certainly, as you said before we climbed, this tower just offers a completely different view than what you'd get at Eagle Tower in Peninsula State Park. So we're going to kind of pan the way here as you can see everything. You can see the old quarry across the bay there, and looking towards Sturgeon Bay off to our right. So we still have a little bit more to climb up. It's once again Potawatomi State Park observation tower open for the first time since 2017. Just opened on Monday. A lot of great work. We thank a lot of people, and we'll let Dave kind of mention all the different people that made this possible. And here we are, right at the top. You can maybe even peek it there. Spring is here. You got the mayflies coming out. It's here as well. And Dave, obviously you and your wife played a major role in this moment here, this view being able to be seen by a lot of people, but there was a lot of other people too that assisted in things.
Yeah, the Sturgeon Bay Historical Society Foundation, they kicked it off. They were the ones who worked initially to get the historical designation, as well as other things to slow things down, and that was vital. Also, the Alliance, the Potawatomi Park Alliance, which I might have the name wrong, but is a group dedicated to saving the tower specifically. And there are just numerous other individuals who eventually came on board to support the effort. There are too many people to mention individually, but it was a community effort, and certainly the governor's office, Assemblyman Kitchens, Senator Jacques, all worked together eventually, and the prime contractor and the other engineers involved.
Well, we're going to give one last look around. Quick peek down. We are awfully high right now, but we are good to go as we walk around the perimeter of the top of the tower one last time. Obviously, leaves still yet to go, but still a beautiful view of the water and some of the islands and some of the beautiful homes that line this body of water. Dave, thank you so much for showing us around the tower, and thank you for your efforts on making sure that this landmark stayed the way that it was.
Thank you for spreading the word.
You've been watching New Radio and the Door County Daily News.